right. Hey, everyone, and good evening. I'm not alone. I'm joined by Andreas version 2.0.
Okay, so the people of YouTube, they have spoken.
And my buzz cut has returned. There was an overwhelming, it's been time, there was an overwhelming 70 something percent on our YouTube poll whether or not I should go back to the buzz cut. And of course, I let my decisions be made by our online community, and hence the buzz cut is back. But the weather is great over here. First time we don't need air conditioning, or we don't need air conditioning yet. No
No
AC,
heating.
no heating. Perfect. So the cut suits the weather. So yeah, welcome to this hangout.
Yeah, I think the last hangout was about 2.5 months ago. So we decided to space it out a little bit more. So our hangouts are going to be quarterly. And as always, the idea with the Hangout is feel free to ask any questions that you would like to know about Physiotutors, about us, spark any discussions that you would like to spark. We usually talk about physio, but also other stuff, inspiring books, movies, series, whatever. So happy to just get in touch with you guys, which this is all about. And of course, we can keep talking. Like always, we always have like a backup program, which is always kind of a look back into the last couple of months, what has happened at Physiotutors, what kind of content have we released that might be interesting for you clinicians out there, what's happening in Physiotutors currently, what are we busy with, what is happening in the physio world or in the social media world, and also finishing off with private questions or little question games that we have prepared for each other. So I'll keep an eye on the YouTube questions. And as always, if you're on YouTube or on Instagram or wherever you are joining, feel free to join us in our free Physiotutors app, which is new and it's free. Yeah, there is a premium membership, but you don't need it. And you can join it via Google Play or the Apple App Store or on desktop via app.physiotutors.com. Okay, with that being said, I'm seeing a couple of questions, but I'll get into them in a minute. What has happened? Like, what was the content we put out there in the last couple of months in the membership / in the app? So let's start with the events. As you know, we have a Q&A session with an expert once a month. So we do have a good network of international top researchers or top clinicians. And in April, the last Q&A session we had was with René Castine about tension type headache. I think René is like the name when it comes to tension type headache. He was our lecturer at the SOMT University in Amersfoort. And we talked everything about tension type headache. So I think it was a great session. And as you know, if you missed it, you can also watch it back in the app. In March, there was a session that you had.
Yep.
Yeah,
it was another Q&A early morning. I think that was with Julia Treleven on cervicogenic dizziness. We've posted quite a bit about this as well, based on a blog post. So it was an early morning session, 9 a.m. because she's in Australia. Also a nice session. Also lots of interaction with you guys in the chat.
Okay. I have 2 questions that we can answer before we move.
Yeah, of course.
With the look back. So, that's not really a question. Brian just took his question back. Zachary asked, like, how long have you been in the game for? Like, we founded Physiotutors, or the YouTube channel was founded in 2011 even, and
12.
we started
12. December.
You created it in 2011, but we really started in mid 2012. So 12 years, which is insane.
Yeah, it was 2012. That's when we started, when we moved to Amsterdam. in 2012.
Oh,
And
gee,
then
yeah.
December 27th is the anniversary date for our YouTube channel. Yeah,
Yeah, it feels like a long time, but at the same
definitely.
time, it still feels like we're just starting out.
Absolutely. Even though like the platform and the whole landscape of online physio education and everything, all the platforms has changed 5 times in that time span. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, moving on. Like, what else has happened? As you know, we also have a monthly journal club with Alexis Leveillé, also known as the No Bullshit Physio on Instagram. And let's see, I think that was the last. I'm not sure if I'm wrong here, but the last journal club was on the fashion trial
Yeah,
for
that's
femoral
right.
acetabular impingement. It was a pretty famous trial which compared physiotherapy to surgery for hip impingement. So that was one article that Alexis discussed with other people on the live in a live event, and the other one was a study on occupational movements and posture and the influence on the occurrence of neck herniations. So
Yeah.
that was another interesting journal club.
Yeah.
Following through my course to become RMT. Okay, no more questions here. So
Yeah, there's a question I think on the.
yeah.
There's two. There's actually one. Sir, I'm doing a thesis with the topic of tension type headache. I am a physiotherapy student from Bangladesh. Yeah, great that you're working on that. There's tons of stuff, research reviews, blogs, lectures, even a fully fledged course
Yeah.
that you can check out, all filled with valuable references around tension type headaches. So yeah, feel free to check it out. You're watching on the app, so you're only one click away. Awesome. And there's another one. Hello, Team Physiotutors. I hope you are enjoying good health. Well, thanks a lot, Rias. Yeah, I think we are. Back to you, of course. Thanks for joining on this live stream.
Okay, one more question from Brian Lau, who asks, how does a therapist approach patients, informing them that show signs that they do not have the capability of improving? I find these situations very interesting, especially for unmotivated patients. Again, how does a therapist approach patients, informing them that show signs that they do not have the capability? So I guess the question is like, how do you deal with patients that do not show any improvement? Yeah, that's difficult. I think when I started out as a physio, I thought I could make everyone better as a great physio. The reality is, it's just not true. Yeah, I mean, I think I can. I do show people what I can offer them, and then for me, I don't know if I feel like a patient is not moving in the right direction. I'm just honest, and I tell them like, look, I expected an improvement. Things are not going, or we are not coming closer to the goal that you have. And I also place the ball back in the court of the patient to really search for a solution together. Like I would, for example, ask like, okay, what do you feel like you need to improve? Or if I see other domains, which is often the case, like how is the general lifestyle, other things going on, how is the sleep, psychosocial factors, I would look in those domains and say, or ask like, okay, how can you become healthier in other areas of your life to make it broader than just biomechanics, broader than just exercising, and so on. And then also think about other health professionals that you could maybe get in touch with and suggest that to the patient. So I don't know. Yeah, of course, it's difficult and maybe confronting if a patient's not improving. And yeah, I feel like at one point you just have to be honest and tell them like, look, okay, it's frustrating for you, but it's also frustrating for me as a therapist. How can we move forward together? I have a couple of suggestions. Would you be open to that? And then go on a journey together. And if I know someone or another health professional that might be able to help them, I'm happy to refer those patients, of course. And with that being said, I think the last thing, especially with chronic pain patients, I feel like they are really focused on finding a solution for their pain, being able to do more despite the pain that is present. So I think often we forget that improvement is also being able to do more, or to do more stuff that people enjoy and love, despite the pain, and not only becoming pain-free or feeling less pain. I hope that answers your question a little bit. Otherwise, feel free to follow up on your question. Efficiency, your cluster. Okay, for himself. Okay, I think we can move on.
Yeah, okay.
Podcasts. I think the last couple of podcasts have been amazing.
Yeah,
I was
great
really
guests,
happy with
yeah,
the
definitely.
episodes. In March, we did a podcast on dry needling with Barbara Cani. Really interesting to talk about the physiological effects of dry needling, especially because we are on the more skeptical side, I guess. And Barbara has a great balance between being a researcher herself, but also a clinician, and also involved in teaching dry needling. So that was really interesting, which also led to the fact that I followed one of her courses 2 weeks ago, which was also very interesting. In April, we had a podcast on medial tibial stress syndrome, so MTSS, with Tom Goom, aka the running physio, so pretty big following on the socials as well. Again, a condition that is pretty prevalent amongst runners, and also hard to manage because there's no RCTs out there. More systematic reviews from Winters, for example. And it was a great episode. And then in May, we might have had the longest episode since I'm running the podcast.
Yeah, more than an hour.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes, because we always try to go for the 30-minute mark, and I always kind of fail. But it's also because the guests are so interesting. And Leanne Bissett from Australia, really turned this into a great episode. Talking all about lateral elbow tendinopathy, aka tennis elbow. So I also think that was a great episode, and I actually finished the transcript today, and we also recorded the summary today.
There's a question in the chat on Vimeo, so on the app. Some Neil again from Bangladesh, who's writing his thesis on tension types. Can you tell us about your Physiotutors assessment and manual therapy app? Okay, short answer. You have them in your hand right now. So if you are on the Physiotutors app, you can just go to the tools section. There's a menu item in your app or on the desktop called tools, and you can click on both assessments or manual therapy, and you'll have everything right here. So if you want to check out different assessments, you can even use them on the free version and unlock them using your credits, and then have all of the information right there, whether that's on desktop or on mobile.
Yeah, so same story with the manual therapy app.
Manual therapy, clinical patterns, our AI assistant, all of the tools are in the app. Where you're watching from right now, Neil. So it's all there. It features hundreds of techniques and assessments with up-to-date evidence statements.
Okay, a couple of more comments that I can comment on YouTube. A quick question from Tone. What did you guys do in your master's degree? We did a master's in manual therapy. Was a great master's, 3 years in Amersfoort. Was not so much about the techniques, but much more about clinical reasoning in musculoskeletal conditions. So it was an awesome master's, and I think we improved a lot as clinicians, and could also translate the stuff for Physiotutors. Is there certifications for your courses? Yes, definitely. When you pass the course, you get a certificate. We actually updated the certificate so it looks great now. I'm really happy about the result. I think it took us a couple of hours to go back and forth with the design. Brian says chronic tendinopathy can be very challenging. Yes, I think most conditions that I see are chronic tendinopathies or tendinopathies in general. And yeah, if you look at stuff that for example, Peter Malliaris says or Jill Cook, they have cases where it just takes 2 years for them to manage, especially to get the strength back, to get the power back. So it takes a while, and it needs a really good approach, not to overload, but also not to underload those patients. All right, moving on. Of course, there's been a new blog as well, or like 2 blogs. We usually try to take the topics from the podcast and the masterclasses, also do a blog about it, so it kind of blends into each other. So I did an extensive blog on dry needling, so which took me quite a long time to write, but I think it's come out great. So go check it out. And in April, you wrote a blog on managing tension type headache. So again, I think a good source for Nil.
Yeah, it's all based on the lecture that Renee gave in April, or that we released in April on the app. So there's a 1-hour talk of him on tension type headache, discussing the current evidence from pathophysiology to treatment. So we wrote a blog about that as well. And yeah, also Kai's blog on dry needling. It's a very nuanced blog. I highly recommend it to every one of our social media audience, especially on Instagram, because it's a heated discussion. Like I think every big creator or creator that's been on Instagram for a while has seen a huge drop off in engagement and reach of their posts. But we post one thing about dry needling and everyone loses their shit. So it's highly recommended to click the link in bio, click the reference post, and get some more context to the maybe not so nuanced posts on our socials.
Okay, two more questions. Tone asks, do you have tips for first-year student in kinesiotherapy, which is basically physiotherapy in Belgium? There's so many tips. I'd say, get our app, which is great. But at the same time, the thing is also like, I know you guys have to learn a lot. So I guess learning more outside of your curriculum can be challenging as well, because it sometimes challenges what you guys learn. I don't know. I'd say be critical, ask a lot of questions, especially in internships. Ask a lot of questions and dare to do stuff. Don't sit in a corner and watch. Try to be active. What else? I mean, I don't know. For me, my first year, I just went crazy. I loved the stuff that we were learning. Like anatomy was like my subject. I don't know. What is a
for first year?
First year.
I mean, first year is I think hard because you learn so much you have to learn so much of the fundamental knowledge. So like anatomy, physiology, all of those topics, where I think it's hard to connect the dots. And then like another year passes, then you start to, connect the dots of, okay, where does that fundamental knowledge come into play in my clinical reasoning process? So I think year 1 is a bit of try to survive. In my case, like it was more like, okay, try to survive, try to cram in that knowledge, try to pass as many exams as possible without having to do retakes, and get your first bit of practical experience. And after that, take a breath, and year 2 will make a lot more sense, where you'll be able to connect more dots to each other.
Yeah,
that's kind of my experience from first year in physio school.
Yeah, Brian also says just master the basics. They will never steer you wrong. Agree with that. And later on, it's much more about why are you taking certain decisions? Like, why are you assessing this and that? Why are you asking this and that question? So later on, that's really where the clinical reasoning comes in, and where you should ask yourself, or your supervisor, like, why are you asking this question? Why are you doing this assessment? What's your idea behind this and that exercise? Then it's really about your why. What are you doing, and what is the reason for it? And I feel like a good physio will always be able to base their decisions on evidence, patient preferences, and also their expertise. But they should be able to have a reason, and not just because, to have because as an answer, but to always have a reason why they're doing certain things. A couple of more things. Do you gentlemen have practical courses that I may attend? Yeah, we're an online course business, so not so practical. We do have 2 of our own courses, which are more basic, like the physiotherapy of the extremity course, which is our most basic course, and the spine course, which is basically a summary of our masters. Those are our own courses, and for the rest, I think we cover so many topics that there should be anything for everyone, especially with all the experts that we collaborate with. Someone said, where can I find it? You can find it on physiotutors.com if you click on courses, or you can go to our study platform directly, which is study.physiotutors.com.
Yeah, and I don't know, I think, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, I think practical courses, do you mean in-person courses, live courses that you can attend, or is that what?
No, I think practical courses.
Practical. I mean, all of our courses feature practical information.
That's true, yeah.
So there's going to be assessment videos, there's going to be treatment videos, if that's what you mean. But if you mean in-person live courses, we don't offer those yet. But maybe we can share more in a couple of months' time.
Yeah. And the last question before we move on from CNAP is, should a physio be very good with pathologies of sports to be a good physio? What do you think? I think it depends on the patient population you have. I mean, if you work in a hospital, I don't think that you will do any return to sport. So no, you don't have to be good with sport pathologies if you don't work with those people. If you do work with people who do a lot of sports, then it definitely makes sense, or you're definitely going to be a better physio if you know a lot about pathologies that can happen. And also, if, for example, I have a lot of tennis players, I play tennis myself, that knowledge helps a lot to be able to do a good return to sport rehab, because I know exactly what people need on the field or on the court in this case. And yeah, I also have to know like what kind of pathologies are common. If you work in a different setting, no problem. I mean, I don't know much about neurology, so but I don't have neurological patients, so yeah. And last question from Brian: will your course be accepted as accredited in the United States? Yes, they're all accredited, but the accreditation is running out relatively soon. Don't ask me for the specific date.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're running out.
Okay.
So they're all accredited at the moment in 40 states,
44
states. So you can find everything in the CEU CPD tab in the course itself. And
okay, watch this. Wait. Yeah, let me just. So if you go to any course, right? Let's, for example, go here. Athletic hip and groin pain. That's the latest course that we shared. There's a tab on each course called CEU CPD. You can click that tab, and then you'll see USA, and then you'll see for how many contact hours it's accredited, and you see the entire list of states. So yes, that's all, including 44 states.
Okay, last one, and then we move on. Like Tone says, yeah, I learned a lot from your videos. Only the neurological testing we did differently in school. That was the case during our studies as well. Like, there's always some university or teacher who does stuff differently. Do what you need to do to pass your exam. That's the reality of it. Later on, you can adapt. And what we do is we perform all of the tests like they are originally described in the original papers. So I don't. Yeah, that's our safety net, so to say, where we base our stuff on. And if someone disagrees, then they disagree with the original article, or we have made a mistake, which has happened in the past, and we've redone a lot of videos. So, but yeah, that's just the reality, and it was the same case with our school.
Yeah.
Okay. Masterclasses that we launched. We launched a
Oh, yeah.
masterclass on clinical reasoning, or on detoxifying your clinical reasoning, with Lars Ave-Marie. That was in March. Again, for Nil on tension type headache in April. And the next masterclass that will come out beginning of May is on thoracic outlet syndrome with Thomas Mitchell. I think that's a really interesting one, because thoracic outlet syndrome is highly debated. So go check it out.
It's coming this Saturday, and then the week after that, so I can already maybe say that, we'll have the Q&A. So if after you've watched a nice lecture this Saturday on thoracic outlet syndrome, and you have some questions that you want to ask Thomas Mitchell, the presenter, you can do that the week after on Wednesday night, Thursday. Is it on Wednesday?
Wednesday.
It's on Wednesday. So Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central European Time. You can ask your questions, and you can also submit them prior. So check out the events section in the app, where you can already submit questions for our speaker. Yeah.
All right. Upcoming events. That was one of them, and the other one is a journal club on the 16th. So that's a Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, 16th of May.
Yeah.
And as always, you can vote on the article that is going to be discussed. So there's two options. If you're in the app or the desktop application, go to Journal Club. Maybe you can show it.
Yeah, I can.
Maybe.
No, I'm on the beta.
Oh, okay. Maybe you can show it on the desktop app.
Yeah. I'm on the beta of that, because that's exciting to see. So yeah, if you go to the events section, on the events, and you see your journal clubs, then there's journal club number 8. No, that's 16th of June.
Must be 7.
Let's go over here, the upcoming events. So here we are, thoracic outlet syndrome. There is journal club number 7. You can check it out right here. You can vote for your article of choice for the next live journal club. And if you click that.
Yeah, go ahead, because I have a favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, there's two different options. One is about the link between diet and low back pain. I think that's an interesting one. That would be my choice. And the other one is on squats versus hip thrust for glute hypertrophy and strength. So you can submit your choice and also see the responses. 2 responses so far, not a lot, but both are on for the diet article. So still a lot of time. Go vote and join the journal club. Visaka says, I can't remember special tests. Please tell me how to remember them. There's no need, because a lot of them are just unnecessary. I think there's a handful that definitely makes sense. And to be honest, I even use our own app if I have to look up a test that I haven't used in a long time, or if I have someone with pathologies that I don't see on a regular basis.
So you've heard before, download our free app, because you're watching on YouTube and not on the app. So download the free app, so you'll have access to all of it at the touch of your fingers. So yeah.
Okay, another question before we move on at what's happening at Physiotutors. But I like it. It's good.
Yeah, it's good and good engagement.
Just
Thanks.
go ahead with the questions.
Yeah.
In a video about core stability, you mentioned that if a concept about unstable spine is explained to a patient, it can do a lot of harm. How about explaining pathology concepts which are not wrong?
Yeah, I think that's all. That's like a bit of has the pendulum swung too far in either direction, where do we need to walk on eggshells? If we consider the concept of a nocebo, I mean, there's an editorial by, Mike Stewart, Words That Harm, You can read that. It's an open access article. If you Google Mike Stewart words that harm, where he provides some context of, okay, medical terminology that we probably have a less threatening uh, alternative for that we can use when we explain anatomical structures or certain pathologies to patients. But I'm also on the opinion that uh, you don't need to walk on eggshells and be afraid that anything that you say where you explain a pathological process to a patient that would induce a nocebo and derail them from a path of healing and probably lead to detrimental results. So I think it's always context dependent. Of course, we should be accurate in what we tell our patients. We should be honest. And I think you can even use medical terminology uh, without it being threatening or being potentially nocebic. I think it always depends on, okay, what's the relation you have with your patient, um, and also I think how you can avoid that they get the wrong idea or that they walk away with harmful beliefs about their condition is that they try to explain it back to you, like after your session or before they leave, that you ask them, okay, what have you understood what I just told you, or how do you interpret what I just told you, so you can get an idea. And also, Ellen, she wrote a research review a couple of weeks back where there was actually an RCT where they investigated this idea of, okay, we have patients with Achilles tendinopathy, and we have we divide them in two groups. One receives, the less threatening explain pain approach in their treatment, and the other one just gets the biomedical explanation of their pathology. And turns out there was no difference in the healing rate and the duration of their treatment. So yeah, I would go with what I previously said. Get good patient buy-in, try to really gauge whether they understood what they told you and that they can possibly explain it back to you, so you can see, okay, did they understand it? Do they have the correct belief or a harmful belief about it? And don't need to walk on eggshells.
Yeah, to add to that, I think if you read our blog on disc herniations, for example, I think there's good examples in there. I mean, it's often about a scan that people come in with, and I mean, if it shows a disc herniation, it's a disc herniation. But then you could also, shine a light on prevalence of disc herniations in the general population to make that a bit softer. Or sometimes you can, what you mentioned, you can replace some words like inflammation with irritation. It's a good one. I think that does a lot of good for patients if you just reframe it a little bit to make it sound less threatening. One question about what was that? I'm in my internship and currently I'm hesitating in approaching a career path between academic and clinic. Any advice? I mean, do what you like and love, but then at the same time, I'd say I would prefer working in a clinic before you dive into academics, because then you still have more real life experience. And this is usually where the questions come from. And then you're not only an academic. So if you want to become a researcher, I think a good path is first to be a clinician and then a researcher, then the other way around would be my advice.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. What's happening at Physiotutors? I mean, a shit ton is happening at Physiotutors.
Kaiga, Andreas got a new haircut. Yeah. I think first and foremost.
That's the biggest news. No, but all of the accreditation work has been done in the Netherlands. So all of the courses are accredited again. People were freaking out a little bit, but all is handled. We got you, so don't worry about it. And we're also trying to look for accreditation in Italy. It's going to take a while, probably. More to come. Our website is going to get a huge overhaul. We've been busy with the design for probably half a year again.
Yeah.
I mean, we redesigned the website like 3 years ago. that was a complete overhaul, but it's going to become even better in the next couple of months.
You already got a bit of a taste of it because the research review page and the courses page already have new design elements and or speak in the new design language that's more aligned with what you already know from the app.
Yeah, we do have more live talks, so we were quite active
Yeah, true.
in the last couple of weeks and months. So we were in Belgium, we were in Eindhoven, we were in Amsterdam. We're going to Eindhoven for a second time in June. Forgot about the date actually to add it. I think it's on the 8th, but I'm not sure. And we have a talk at our old school, so in Amsterdam at the European School of Physiotherapy.
Yeah, for
That's
the graduation.
next week on Tuesday. So
Yeah.
going to talk about Physiotutors, our business principles that we think made Physiotutors relatively successful, and what we learned throughout the years,
Yeah.
filled with a lot of anecdotes and behind the scenes.
Yeah, and an off-limit Q&A.
Yeah. So definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Today we recorded another podcast with Claire Minshall about strength and conditioning. I just saw a comment on YouTube that Brian said, I find hypertrophy to be slightly overrated. Yeah, for rehab, I agree. And I think Claire would also agree. So I think another good episode, also a longer one on SNC. App.
I recorded 2 new lectures. I mean, we have a huge buffer, so those masterclasses, they will be on the app towards the end of the year and the new year. But we did a recording on migraine and dry needling. That's that. And what's happening on the app?
App development is like going crazy, and we have like a huge roadmap. It's gonna keep us busy for the next 1 or 2 years. But the things that we implemented now and that are gonna be live probably end of the week.
Could be end of the week.
Yeah. So what is new now is we have text to speech. So for our blogs and our research reviews, you can just click a button, but that's a premium feature. So don't be disappointed if you're a basic member. You can check out premium for 7 days for free, but you can just click a button. This is the test version of the app, by the way. You click a button and then the text is being read to you.
Okay, let me see if, let me switch that.
Introduction. Studies on muscle alterations, specifically examining hip muscle strength, have been conducted in chronic low back pain, CLBP. Some studies found that CLBP patients had hip muscle weakness, whereas others did not. The methods used to measure muscle strength varied significantly. Though CLBP exams often focus on hip abductors, it is crucial to remember that hip abductors, extensors, and external rotators all work together to generate dynamic
session. So
there we go. We're back.
Okay. Yeah, sorry for the quick pause. We're a bit ahead with the live stream, so we see ourselves like 20 seconds afterwards on YouTube. So we have text to speech in on the blogs and on the research reviews
in all languages. So we made sure we choose a nice voice for all of the languages that we feature on the app. So whether you're listening in English or German or French, there'll be a pleasant voice that reads you the information on the app.
Yeah, and that's at the same time, that's the biggest update, I think, with this version. Our podcast will be available in 8 different languages. 7?
Yeah. We're slowly but surely going to add multi-language episodes to the app. So when you then move to a podcast episode, there'll be a new button where you can change the podcast language. So starting with the latest episodes of the podcast and then moving back retrospectively, we are, thanks to our community contributors, going to be able to add multi-language versions of the podcast. This is going to take weeks, if not months, to complete for our entire library of podcast episodes. And it also depends on the contribution from our community. So now, if you're watching and you want to contribute to this project and receive premium for free on the app, you reach out to us via email. But we are adding these multi-language episodes.
Yeah. And the podcast player has also been updated. So now you can start an podcast episode and still browse within the app. So
Yes.
also, like you know it from Spotify, there's a sleep timer. So you can just put on an episode and go to bed, and it will switch off. After a certain time that you specify, you can skip ahead 15 seconds and back, and you can also increase the podcast speed.
Yes, because then if you're in the podcast and you swipe down, you see at the bottom that there's like a little mini player that you can use to go back into the episodes, but the podcast now continues playing while you're browsing other content on the app.
Last but not least, we improved the desktop version of the app, so everything is going to be the same like you're used to on the mobile version.
It tracks all of your activity on the web or desktop version as well. So, if you want to get that next badge, that level 2 researcher badge, you can read research reviews on the web app as well on app.physiotutors.com, and it'll track that. So you don't lose progress whether you're watching and reading on mobile or on desktop.
Okay. Next developments on the app, which we kind of agreed upon today, is the library is going to be open for everyone. It's not going to be a premium feature anymore, and it's going to be much better than it is now. It's going to be similar to what you know from Instagram, like how you can save different pieces of content. You can bookmark text and save it to your collections, and you can also create favorite lists, like you know it from Spotify. Like you can create your own lists and save stuff that you deem important to your own library.
So if you maybe you have lots of interest in the upper limb, you can save your favorite elbow content into a folder, or your favorite shoulder content into a folder, and just make the app more something personal of yourself, your own personal content repository. Because right now everything is a bit scattered in the library, and you might lose oversight the more content you add. So I will give you the option to have more granular control over how you create your own catalog.
The second feature that we're going to implement is going to be a premium feature. That's going to be a portfolio function. So what you can track now in the app is just the time that you spent on the app. In the future, there's going to be a whole statistic on where you spend time in the app. Like, is it podcasts? Is it masterclasses? And you will be able to create a portfolio, like a PDF excerpt or export on all of the activities you've done and completed in the app. So you're going to get certificates per masterclass, per research review that you read, and it's all going to be in a perfect overview, so you can hand it in for CPD points or CU credits that you need to achieve in your respective country.
I think it's going to be a good way so you can really highlight your continuing education efforts, whether that's to your employer or to the boards when they might audit you for proving that you comply with CPD regulations. So you can export, you'll get a monthly summary of all of your continuing education activities on the app in a visually nice overview. So we're working on that.
Okay, two more things that are happening. Another overhaul of our ebook. So it's going to be a new layout. That would be layout 3 that is now being done. And I'm pretty sure we're going to release the book in Dutch, finally, kind of, because at the one side, we feel like all the Dutch and Flemish people, their English is so good that they don't need it. But at the same time, we feel like people do want it. So that's going to be one of the next projects. And at last, we have 4 students or student workers now helping us out. So shout out to Steve, Oliver, Mia, and our latest employee, which we actually, kind of.
She got onboarded today.
That's
this afternoon. This
Isabella
morning.
from Austria. So they're going to help us to get all of our course videos into 31 languages. So it's a lot of work. That's why we have those guys on.
Yeah.
All right. We always talk about things that caught our attention.
Mm-hmm.
Not so. This time I won't mention an article. This is something that you attended me to. It's removing aggregators from Instagram.
Yeah.
Tell us more about it. What is Instagram planning to do?
Yeah. So I was just on Threads, and there is one of the leads. I think one of the leads of Instagram, Mosari on Threads. They just posted that they will remove content aggregators from any sort of discovery feeds on Instagram. So what we've been accustomed to from YouTube is that YouTube scans the entire platform regularly and informs you if other people have uploaded parts or your videos in their entirety, and they give you a report that shows, okay, this video features 20% of your video on X, or this video features 100%. So, just like a complete re-upload of your video. So they have technology in place that scans videos to protect your intellectual property rights and informs you, and you can issue a content takedown notice to the creator that re-uploaded your content. And Meta, so Facebook and Instagram, they've been notorious for just pretty much giving a shit about this. Like reposting other people's content without giving credit. I mean, even if you give credit, you could think of, if you're a small creator and a big creator repost your stuff and they give you credit, you could think, yeah, maybe that gives you a bit of a kickback and you get some more followers or more engagement on your original content. I don't know if that really happens all that often. The worst, of course, is if your content gets reposted, gets a lot of engagement elsewhere, and you don't get the credit, and people don't get directed your way. So what Meta now is going to do is they're going to heavily limit accounts that repost more than 10 content pieces within 30 days. So they will remove all of these posts from content discovery features. So, which is going to mean that these posts that are likely being reposted because the creator thinks this will get a lot of engagement, they won't be able to be discovered. So I think that fashion of handling your social media to attract viewers and engagements and likes probably is gonna go away. So it's caught our eye because we've been on Instagram since 2015, on social media, heavily since 2012, 2013, and we've seen the ups and downs of it, and I think that was something that bugged us for a long time.
It's about time that they stop incentivizing
stealing content without
basically.
attribution.
So it's about time. All right, no more questions. So we move on to the last part of our Hangout session, which is always like different questions to each other. So I don't know if you guys are interested, but I have a couple of interesting questions to Andreas.
Okay,
let's start. Number one, what book has influenced you the most? And I know it can be audiobooks.
Yeah. One is definitely Why We Sleep. Like, I don't know, I've always been known to be, or that to value my sleep highly. I think if you read my graduation yearbook quote from high school, people talk about like me going to bed early and really valuing that even at a young age. But like having read that book, it has influenced me quite a lot. Like to really like focus on high quality sleep, like the way I try to get the temperature right and to have regular sleeping times and that. So I would say that in terms of lifestyle. Another one. I mean, I'm probably gonna get hated on for that. Was Gary Vee's book. What's the title again?
So like crazy?
No,
that was Sabi Subri.
That's
Yeah.
Sabi Subri. Gary Vee's second book. Yeah, that influenced me quite a bit. It made so much sense in terms of like business strategies and how to scale a business on social media and or also how to grow a community, how to engage with a community. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I said one, so that's fine.
Yeah, well, it's enough. Okay, move on.
My follow up is there a movie that has influenced you a lot?
A movie that has influenced me a lot,
or a series?
It's hard to think of one like off the top of my head.
The Founder.
I mean, it's a great movie to watch if you're in business. Watch the movie on The Founder. It's like on the founder of McDonald's. It's a great movie if you're in business. But has it impacted me or influenced me a lot? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, feel free to share another one if you
I'm
come up with it.
Okay, I'll put out the next question.
Yeah,
I might circle back.
Okay. Entrepreneurial tip. If you could give one piece of advice to someone starting their entrepreneurial journey, what would it be?
Get a partner. Get someone to do it with you. Absolutely. Hands down, that's the most important one I think that you could do. I mean, people always, like, I think every big entrepreneur that you see, rarely they are going solo the entire way. Like, there's always, I mean, maybe they start alone.
Or the drop.
or that drop one. Yeah, don't go with three. Like, a throuple is never a good idea. But I think every big entrepreneur, even if they started alone, they will be a second one pretty early. Like, I guess in tech, there's always going to be one that's going to be heavily tech focused, and the other one is maybe going to be more like business admin focused. Yeah, get a partner with a different skill set, but that shares the same vision.
Right. Next entrepreneurial question is, looking back over the past 10 years, what's the one thing you know now that you wish you had known then?
Something I know now that I wish I had known then. As an entrepreneurial question. It's hard being put on a spot like that.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing
it. No, but it's good. Yeah, I think initially, and I mean, we've learned this down the line, but that a lot of the numbers that we initially attributed success on, they don't really matter that much. Like likes, followers, whatever. I mean, now there's, if I go into our threads, there's a big outcry again about creators on Instagram complaining that Instagram completely crushes their organic reach, like where they post something and 1% of their followers get to see their post, where maybe then 30% of the total viewership comes from non-followers, and then people are criticizing Instagram for this behavior. And I mean, we can't blame the platform, but I think it took quite a while to realize that the value of what you put out is not measured by how many likes or how many followers there are, because in the end, to build a sustainable business, you can't count on these numbers. Like, I think there are people who, and we've talked to people who had like a million followers, but had no way how to build a business on that number. which, I mean, you don't have to make a business from your social media community or around your social media presence. But yeah, the numbers, they don't mean all that much. So, but I wish I had known that sooner, because it's provided quite a bit of headache.
Yeah, good answer. The last one, what would you do if you won millions in the lottery tomorrow?
Continue building a business with a little bit less headache. Like, it would provide definitely some more financial freedom, but that will provide a lot more freedom to do entrepreneurial ventures. I wouldn't do anything that different. I would try to invest it smart so that it grows, but yeah, I would continue the same as now.
You can't leave me hanging, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, we're not done yet. Yeah, no, I would do it. But yeah, I was still thinking about that movie. But maybe give me. Do you have an answer?
Oh man,
next to the founder?
Yeah, I was crazy about Fight Club when I was younger.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think, Fight Club was like a movie that I watched first when I was like 14. I was like, what? This is like the shittiest movie I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
Because I didn't get it. I thought it was just super weird.
Yeah.
And then later down the road, I felt like, okay, this is really like against the establishment. And
Oh yeah.
I think I was also in a phase where I was really questioning a lot of stuff that was going on in society. Like, why do we do certain things? Why do you do this? Why do you earn money? Why do you follow the typical route of going to school? Going. So it made me question a lot of things, and like it's. I mean, it's a lot about anarchy as well, but it made me question a lot of things, and I think I watched the movie like 14 times or so. So it was probably my all-time favorite movie. So still,
Okay. Okay.
American Beauty is also a bit similar. It's way more or way less anarchistic, but it's. I mean, think about it. We'll.
I'll definitely
Andreas
think about it.
has a movie that influenced him on the next Hangout, which is gonna be in August.
Oh man, I'm gonna think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I like there's a ton of great movies.
No, but which one has influenced your thinking? And
then I have to really dig deep. What?
Those are the good movies.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, there's no more questions, and I gotta run to play tennis.
All right, awesome. Well, everyone out there, thanks a lot for tuning in to this hangout. It's been great. Thanks for the questions.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining on YouTube, or Facebook, LinkedIn, and of course on the app. We hope to see you on the app very soon. And have a good night.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.